An old, abandoned house on the outskirts of the city. Night. The moon barely illuminates the rooms through the dirty windows. The air is cold, saturated with dampness and the smell of mold. Anna has always loved adventures. When her friends told her about the old house on the outskirts, where strange things were rumored to be happening, she couldn't resist. She decided to spend the night in this place to dispel myths or find something really creepy. She was already standing in front of the front door, looking at the sagging sign with the words "Welcome" written in crooked letters. Her flashlight was shaking in her hand, as if warning her of danger. Anna took a deep breath and pushed the door open. She creaked so loudly that the echo reverberated throughout the house, as if someone was repeating her movements somewhere in the distance. The first sounds are Anna coming into the house with a flashlight. The floor creaks under her feet. Dust covers every surface. The air is heavy, as if the house itself is watching her. The walls are decorated with faded wallpaper, peeling off in places and hanging in rags. Everything was quiet for the first half hour. Anna looked around the rooms, made notes in her notebook, and even began to think that the legends about the house were just fiction. But suddenly she heard it, a quiet whisper. It was as if someone was saying her name right behind her back. She turned around, but there was no one there. Only the shadows on the walls from the light of her lantern. The whisper was so low that she wasn't sure if she really heard it or if it was just her imagination. But he didn't disappear. It continued to sound, barely audible but insistent. "Who's there?" she whispered, her voice trembling. There was no response, just silence. But now she could feel something breathing behind her back. Not air, but something alive, warm, soaked in rot. The chase whispers are getting louder. Flashlight starts flashing and then goes out completely. Anna remains in total darkness. Here the flashlight blinked one last time and went out. Now Anna could only see the outlines of objects which were barely discernible in the moonlight filtering through the dirty windows. But even that light seemed insufficient. Every movement in the house grew louder. The creaking of floorboards, rustling behind the walls, soft footsteps that she couldn't explain. "It's just an old house," Anna tried to reassure herself. Just an old house, but the whispers got even louder. Now it sounded from all sides, as if the walls were beginning to speak. The voices intertwined, creating an eerie chorus. They said her name over and over, but each time in a slightly different way. Sometimes the voice was childish, sometimes old, sometimes male, sometimes female. Anna tried to run, but every step took her into new corridors that she had not seen before. The house was changing. The walls narrowed, the floors became uneven, and the ceiling sank lower and lower. She could feel her skin getting goosebumps, and her breathing was getting more and more ragged. And then she realized that she was no longer alone. Something was moving behind her. Something big, slow, but inexorable. She couldn't see it, but she could feel his presence. It breathed behind her, and every step she took echoed closer and closer. Finally, Anna finds an old door that seems to lead to the street. She grabs the handle but notices that the skin of her hand has turned gray and her fingers have lengthened. "No, what's going on? Stop it," she screamed, her voice breaking. The whispers became deafening. Now she could make out the words, "You've always been a part of this house." She looked down at her hands. They were no longer her hands. Her skin began to crack like old paint, and a black liquid like resin protruded from the cracks. She tried to scream, but her voice turned into the same whisper that had haunted her all night. The door swung open, but instead of the street, Anna saw only endless darkness. She took a step forward, and her whisper faded into the night. She was a part of this house now. She has become one of those who whispers, who waits, who pursues the next researcher here. The dark haze is increasingly absorbing the space inside the house. Anna feels her body seem to dissolve, turning into a shadow, part of the sinister history of this place. The walls seem to breathe with her, the cracks widening and rolling up like old leather. A new inner voice flares up inside her, quiet, almost imperceptible, like the whisper of the wind. "You are among your own people." She tries to fight this feeling, desperately trying to remember who she is and why she came here. Images of night walks, adventures, and youth come to mind, and suddenly it all seems so far away and alien. The sound of her own breathing echoes in the bottomless darkness. Suddenly, she notices a faint light, a flicker in the depths of another room. It seems barely noticeable, like a spark that can ignite a flame or go out forever. Anna moves slowly towards him, treading carefully on the creaking floor. The closer she gets, the more clearly she hears a quiet noise, as if someone is whispering to her in a language she doesn't know. At the end of the hallway, she discovers an old diary covered in dust. It's lying on the floor, open to a page with notes and drawings, some of which depict a house similar to this one, only much older. There is a neat handwriting on this page. This house is not just a building. He is a repository of secrets connecting the past and the present. Those who lived here don't leave. They remain inside in eternity, wrapped in the fog of time. And then Anna feels that someone is looking at her from the page. The image of the person depicted in the drawing seems to be alive. He looks straight into her eyes, and that look is filled with sadness and trust. She suddenly realizes that this man was one of the old owners of the house, or someone who mysteriously disappeared into its walls. Suddenly, the whole house starts shaking, as if it's waking up from a long sleep. The floor is shaking under my feet, and the walls are clenching and unclenching. There is a chill in the air, and the whispers increase. All the sounds merge into a hum. For a moment, a vision appears before Anna's eyes. She sees a scene from the past, an old house, a living and creeping time. Inside, there is a family gathering by the fireplace, laughing and talking, candlelight. But suddenly one of the figures disappears, leaving only a shadow. Anna feels that a part of her soul is connected to this place. This place has swallowed up her ancestors, her relatives, and, to some extent, herself. She realizes that the house has a life of its own, and her every action awakens something ancient. And yet there is hope inside. Somewhere deep in her subconscious, she feels that there is a way to leave. But to do this, you need to understand the true nature of this house. By that time, the house is completely engulfed in darkness, and an ominous wind is blowing in the air, which makes the windows shake and the doors creak. A figure appears in the center of the room, an old man dressed in black, with eyes full of wisdom and sadness. "You've awakened something that's been sleeping for a long time," he says softly. "This is the house of your destiny. You have to accept your role and understand that you are inseparable." Anna feels her heart beating faster. She has almost lost hope, but then the image of her grandmother, her family, their stories, their love for this house comes back to her memory. She decides that this night cannot be the end until she reveals the mystery of the house completely. A desire arises in her to understand who she really is and what she needs to be free. She walks over to the old mirror that stands against the wall. In his reflection, she sees not only her own face, but also a whole story, beautiful and scary at the same time. Every small crack on the glass is a memory of past owners, of losses and victories. And suddenly, a light appears in the reflection, faint but persistent. He leads her into the depths of the house, to a place that was previously hidden. This is where the most important moment begins. In her hands is an antique key found in a cluttered room. It sparkles as if it contains a whole universe of secrets. Anna steps forward and inserts the key into the antique lock of the locked door, which seems to be the main secret of the house. At that moment, the house freezes, and for a moment everything returns to silence. But the door opens. Beyond it is absolute darkness. She takes the first step inside, feeling that an answer awaits her, or perhaps her own deliverance.